Industrial Internet Consortium, dacă vă interesează aplicații de genul ăsta. Ok. Mersi. Alex. Eu supun că mulți dintre voi sau toți știți engleză, so I'll switch to English now because the next speaker comes from Germany. I don't know German, you don't know German, so he will speak in English. He comes from Germany, Sascha Wolter. He's an evangelist and developer manager at Deutsche Telekom. He's passionate about machine-to-machine, the Internet of Things, and he will have a presentation and also some demos. So I'll encourage you to watch him closely because it will be very interesting. Sascha, please.
Oh, thank you. Just first to make sure, can you hear me without a microphone? That's fine if I talk in this voice, because I used to walk around very much, and then it's a little bit difficult with this mic in the hand. Okay, thank you. Yes, welcome. I'm glad to be here in Bucharest, and thank you for the former talker who already covered whole of my current speech, but I hope I can add some things to this great first session. Because I think I have a different point of view. I talk about prototyping the Internet of Things for several reasons. The most important reason is these are my kids, and everything I do, I think about the value of what I'm doing, and has it any value? I can best prove with my kids, because if they understand what I'm doing and what I want to reach, and they see any value in it, then it makes sense to me. Especially because they are much more innate to this digital world than, for example, my parents. They always do not understand what I'm doing because they learned different paradigms of using computers, using technology. For them it's hard to switch to something new. But the next generation, these are the people where we are building things for, where we do new things, where we are innovating. And on the other side, they help me very much because they have sometimes very awkward ideas, but once I think about their ideas, then they start making things. They might make starting sense, and it makes sense to think about it, to change something, to make things in a more childish way, more like they do, more innate, more natural. This is something which really drives me, and it's also very helpful during my current work, working for Deutsche Telekom. It's a huge corporation, Deutsche Telekom, and I think it's in every huge corporation. There are a lot of people which somehow don't like to innovate. They fear change, and they think things which make a change to their work, they are somehow dangerous. Things which could change their life, they are dangerous, and furthermore, these people think only things which are complicated have a value. Only complicated things are things I can sell to anybody. But I think the opposite is the truth. Everything should be as easy as possible, and therefore I check these things, my ideas first with my kids, and if my kids understand what I'm doing, my colleagues, they will do too, hopefully. And this is something which drives me. Especially because nowadays there are not really any current problems we have to solve with all these things, all these opportunities, all this technology. We have to find new needs. We have to find and define, we have to create new needs to make any business out of it, to change something. Because if you ask me what could I do better with technology, mostly I have no spontaneously idea. I need to think about it, to check something and to experience things, to prototype things, to really feel their value. If something is, for example, in the first view, it's somehow helpful, if you check it, if you try out it, you see it makes no sense sometimes. And sometimes the opposite is the truth. If you try out something which seems not to be useful, but you check it, then you make the experience, wow, that makes sense. I could do something really helpful out of that. Especially if we think about all these opportunities we will have in the near future. All these devices. In the near future we expect around about 50 billion somehow connected devices. Even a cow could be connected to the internet. I will show you a sample later. Furthermore, although our CEO, he says everything that can be connected will be connected. Will not only be digitized, that was somehow a prediction in the last century. Nowadays we predict everything will be connected. And there are some more researchers on that. Connectivity at all, we expect round about 3 devices per square meter in your home. 3 devices per square meter which are somehow connected. Every light, every fridge, every microwave, your TV set, all the phones you have, tablets, everything will be somehow connected. And this connectivity does change the paradigm of interactivity. Because the one-to-one relationship we have nowadays will change to a one-to-many relationship. There are many devices we have to interact with somehow. And this should be as natural as possible. One way to interact with devices like that, we don't have sound, but it doesn't matter that we don't have sound. One way to interact could be with your brain power, with your mind. And this is, by the way, this is already possible. Unfortunately, this toy, which you can buy for around about, I think, 50 euros, is not very exact. You even could use a wet towel, and this wet towel has then somehow Jedi power to move something around. But there are medical devices like this, much more expensive, unfortunately, which are really capable of driving a car, a wheelchair, just with brain power. And this feels somehow supernatural. But what I mean with supernatural, it's a term defined by Microsoft, by the way. It's supernatural interaction. It's beyond natural interaction what we need. It must be much more natural than nowadays. Gestures, and speech recognition, all these things are in quotes natural, but they are not innate. You still have to learn them. And we are searching for user interface paradigms, for interactivity, ways which are beyond this natural thinking, which are innate to you. Anyway, there are a lot of ubiquitous and pervasive computing samples already in the world. Everyday things which you can use which are somehow connected. I like this toaster, for example, which toasts the current weather. And this might have a value for you if you can see your stocks in the at your breakfast, the current weather, maybe a nice greeting by your boyfriend, something like that. My personal favorite is this toilet paper printer which prints Twitter feeds. You see the relation between Twitter and toilet paper, but it's something I think which would be for me really useful. And doing all these things, yes, you get to the point where you have to think about privacy, security. I will not cover that here, but this is something we have to be aware of, definitely. Especially if you see things like this media cup, which can, based on temperature, the tilt, the movement of a cup, which can detect if you're working or not, for example. But it's possible. There are heuristics which help your employer to see if you're really productive or just drinking tea. And this capacitive fork, it's supposed to help you doing a diet, but think of all the capabilities of, for example, healthcare insurances, which can somehow check your behavior, the way you eat. There's even currently released by Procter & Gamble, there's a connected toothbrush, electric toothbrush connected to the internet. Even that could somehow control you. It's supposed to help you to clean your teeth better than before. But I personally think they just released this internet-connected toothbrush to sell more of these brushes. But they say it's just for a good purpose. Anyway, these things are things we have to cover in our work. And it's easier to cover them if you prototype what you are doing. If you have something you really can experience, which you can try out. And therefore, I think about these things. One more thing I love to try out, I've never seen it in real, it's a patent by Sony. So it's no April joke, no April Fool's Day joke. It's a smart wig. It's artificial hair you can wear, which then is interactive. They say it's for navigating through a city, for example. But for me, it sounds strange, but they have a patent on that, so there might be a value in it. Another thing, which at the first place seems to be awkward and a little bit embarrassing, is this cow which can send text messages. And that's not a joke. That's really a big business. Farmers, they need somehow Internet of Things thing, connectivity to maintain their animals better, for example. And there are two solutions for this cow, how this cow could send a text message. One is based on a thermometer to detect fertility, and the other one is also for detecting fertility, is based on a collar which the cow wears, and this collar is very much the same like a fuel band, like one of these sport fitness devices. It detects based on the movement of the cow, the fertility of this cow. Nobody's recording that, right? I thought about building something like that for my wife, but I'm not sure if that's a good idea. And I'm not sure if she really changes her head in a different way then. But anyway, you see, there's really a value. That's a business. Yes, there are people owning their loan and their money with that. And one more, even bees could send text messages. And I've seen that in real. That really is something which really works. It's only a weight below the beehive, electric weight, and this weight sends once a day a text message with the current weight of the beehive and some weather data. That's because in the forest where this beehive is standing, there's usually no internet connectivity, but in most cases you still have a single, how can you say it, a single block of GSM connectivity. And therefore, SMS, text messaging is something which still works, even if you're not able of creating a stable internet connectivity. And there are lots of opportunities, lots of business you can think about connecting things with each other, and especially if you are somehow in quotes open-minded and you think about different strategies of connecting things like using text messaging, GSM networks, maybe IP connectivity. There are so many things you can use depending on the scenario where you're in. And you only figure out the constraints and the requirements of a scenario, of a certain environment, if you try out these things. If you build a prototype, and then you can be part of this huge revenue we expect in 2017. We expect in the world of M2M, machine-to-machine, IoT, Internet of Things, a growth up to $17 billion in 2017, and I'm pretty sure there will be much more growth in the next time. And to discover how something like that works, I usually have something with me like this Lego robot, for example, because if I talk, for example, about connected car, I have to connect it with my PC. A second. Then 1 second. It looks good, it seems to be connected. So if I talk about connected car, for example, where we expect to have a very, very huge business in the near future, because every new released car in the EU from 2015 on has to be included with it's called e-call technology. E-call, it's kind of an emergency call. That's an inbound call sending some data in case of an emergency or in case of an accident to your, sorry, I have to reconnect this device, to your, to the police or to the fire department. And you see some technical issues. That's the reason, one more reason to try out things. And and if you 1 second. Sorry for this short delay. Then the issue is having all this stuff with me, and you all have Bluetooth on, I see on your phones, so I see a bunch of phones here on my laptop, so I can sniff all your data and take it with me to Germany. No, I'm kidding. And so now I'm here. Okay, and now I can show you the sample with this small robot, because I love to have something with me to talk with my customers. Because if I talk to them about connected car and all the opportunities of connected car, there's one issue. They cannot imagine what I'm talking about. And unfortunately, it's hard for me to have a real car with me, and it's much harder for me to make an accident with a real car with my customer, with each of these customers. And therefore, I love to have this small robot and to drive it around. And by the way, something I wanted to talk to you about a little bit later in the talk, but it's still installing, is that I always prepare what I need for this discovering the opportunities, usually in a better way than just right now. And then I show to my customer in an easy way via drag and drop how this will work, how you can use it. And you see here it looks a little bit like a lot of code, but it's just for all the developer in the audience, it's just a model-driven architecture. That means, you see it's still installing. And that means basically that I can use drag and drop to fulfill what it's doing. But it's still installing. So I skip this small sample. I hope it will work a little bit later, because I have a bunch of more samples. Hopefully they will work better. And if it has installed, I promise I will deliver it to you a little bit later. Basically, it can drive around, and it can show how you can make an accident, and then it can send me a message, a short message, a text message. It can initiate a voice call, and everything through very easy to use APIs. All these APIs we have are based on JSON, REST services, so it's easy to combine these APIs with Internet of Things devices. The former speaker, he mentioned a lot of these development boards, like Arduino-based one, Raspberry Pis, but it doesn't matter that much which one you choose, as long as you are familiar with it, as long as the opportunity costs are low, then you can use the development board, even a laptop of your choice, and then you can combine it with interactivity. For example, you can connect a phone to it, you can use Bluetooth for connectivity to the internet, Ethernet, Wi-Fi, all these capabilities. And what I like most is, once I have connected it, is this electric construction kit by my son. I borrow this usually from my son to build things like that. And this, for example, is the same setup like here, but in this case with a bubble gun. And you can see I send a short message to this bubble gun, initiating it, starting it, and I can do the same vice versa. I can stop it, just using, for example, text messages. Hopefully this one will work. So 1 second. I now send an SMS message to this device.